you. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming out to Emily's retirement party. I know it means a lot for her to have all of you here and everyone that she loves so much to be here. Quick little announcement, and then we'll kind of get back to it. But we're going to go through the little quiz that's on each one of your tables. Everybody has one. We kind of want to go through and see how well you do actually know Emily. On the back, on the back of the card, please make sure to fill that out with a special little memory that we can send home with Emily as well. So we're going to give you just a few minutes, and then we're going to come back, and we'll turn the time over to Emily to walk us through some of these wonderful memories that we all have with her. So, okay, you have a couple minutes. And as we go through this, there's some stories to be told. I know Emily's got some call-outs on her card, so be prepared. It might be you. She might call on you to tell a story. But we're going to get started. Emily's requested that I read her answers for her. She's been doing a lot of talking, so she'll chime in when she can, but we'll get through this list. The very first question is a fun one, and you're all here because you've all known Emily for quite some time. You've met her probably at one of these places that's listed. So as we work down this list and we go through the answers, if you knew Emily or you met Emily at one of these places, raise your hand or stand up. Like, we just want to see where everyone's coming from, and that'll just add to the excitement of you getting out of your chair. So, all right, okay, first one is, in chronological order, where did Emily work? Number one is Little Caesars. Everybody's from Little Caesars, right? Yeah, no, it's good. That crazy bread, though. Right? The crazy bread. Oh, yeah. All right, number two is Lighthouse Research and Development. That's number two. I hear a lot of so none of you got that right. Number three is Discover Card. Oh, we got some Discoveries in the back. That's great. All right, number four is Salt Lake County Emergency Services. No one? Yes? We've got one. Wonderful. All right, number five is Send Out Cards. Before Zurich, or before Europe. Before Europe, yep, okay, great. Before Europe. Yep.
There's basically half of this room is Send Out Cards, I feel like.
Number six is Colegio Bristol.
Yeah, Colegio Bristol.
Anyone?
There's one person.
Okay, one person back there. Then we're going back to Send Out Cards after Europe. That's me. That's where I fit in. I fit in on number seven. Number eight, Global Rescue. We got some rescuers over here. Wonderful. Number nine is Sterling ATM. No one? Yeah, it's okay. It didn't last long anyways. In case you were wondering. Number 10 is Zurich's. Emily and I also work together at Zurich's. Again, yep. A lot of Zurich's, yep.
We follow each other around.
We do. Number 11 is Warble. Any warblers? Oh, there's a warbler. Give us your best warble. Perfect. And then number 12 is Orange Line. Orange Line.
Also just me.
Also just you.
And my
But
whole
yes.
team is in Australia.
Yes.
They
Kate, who even got remotely close? Anyone? You did back here? Well, of course, Paul, of course. Naturally, high achiever over here. Everyone just look away from Paul. All right, now the second question is, this is a weird one. Emily was an undocumented alien teaching English in what country? Spain. And that was at the Colegio Bristol with Derek. And she wants you, Derek, to tell a little diddly, a little story about that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Teach us all some English.
We ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner there. We tried to save money.
So I said, I've known Emily for coming up on 20 years now, but it honestly feels like I've known her my whole life. We met when we both worked at Discover Card, and we became good friends quickly, but Discover Card wasn't the only job we worked at together. Our friendship strengthened when we went to Europe together with a few other friends, Amber and Mark, without any set plans to return home. We kind of just wandered from place to place, sleeping on the floors of whoever would let us crash at their place, and not really knowing where we'd end up next. We eventually made our way to Spain, where we worked together once again, but this time teaching English to little kids. It wasn't something we planned on doing, and it was only for a couple months to help fund our travels. Because of how brief this employment was, the job itself often gets forgotten. But the experiences we had, carpooling into Madrid, singing along with the radio's catchy morning tune, telling us what time it is. Every morning, and we would turn that part up every morning. Staying out all night with the other teachers, waiting for the trains to start up so we could get back home. Installing carpet in our Spain apartment to make it more cozy. And Oxford comma, dragging ourselves into work every morning after long adventures, exploring a new country the evening before, will never be forgotten. Emily, you're an amazing coworker and an even amazinger friend. You've had more adventures than most other people can even dream about. I love you. I'm so grateful that I've been able to share just a fraction of your adventures with you.
Thanks, Derek. I mean, he came prepared. It was typed up. It was thoroughly, like, I was waiting for like a slideshow to come up here on the TV. I mean, it was that good. It was that good. All right, let's get back to it. Emily was a ghostwriter for Herjavec. And where's he from? Shark Tank. You're like, I don't know which country? Yeah, Shark Tank. He's like the really handsome white guy with the nice hair. Yeah, he's the nice shark. Yep.
He was really great to work with.
Yeah.
And that's pretty fucking cool.
It's very cool. What company had a camel in the office on hump day? Send out cards. It was send out cards. All right, here's another good one.
Oh, I never made a slideshow.
That's all right.
I totally had a slideshow of all
Hey, this is your slideshow.
With,
And there's a
like,
lot of pictures out there.
camels.
There's a camel out there.
There is?
We've got photos everywhere.
Okay, great.
Yep. Go on the art tour, ladies and gentlemen. If you'll camel picture out there.
Camels in the office.
Yep. Okay. Emily illegally squatted in her office at what company? Orange Line. And if you have not heard this story, please don't leave tonight without hearing it, because every time you FaceTimed me and you were hiding under a ping pong table or next to a mini fridge or in the dark shadows somewhere waiting for the cleaning ladies to leave, I could not believe that this was real life. Real life.
I know.
Real life for Emily.
It's surprising to myself even that my life is even real.
Yeah.
Like, even right now.
Yes.
This is absurd.
Yeah.
What? Oh, do you want to share it?
Let's do it.
This is when I was living, okay, so I was living in the office in Orange Line. So what ended up happening, well, I guess I'll stop telling.
I don't know, I'll tell my story, then you can just fill in.
I'll fill in any gaps.
Okay, that's it. Okay, so I'm allowed to say this story, yeah? It sounds like I'm allowed to say it, because I was going to ask you. Okay, so from Hawaii, Emily flew straight to Australia to work for this. Is it on? Hello? Hello? That close? No. So from Hawaii, Emily flew straight to Australia to work with the summer. She was Yeah, that was fun. Yeah. She was having trouble finding an Airbnb close to the office. Well, one night we got a FaceTime call from Emily. We answer and it's very dark. Emily, where are you? We ask. How's your Airbnb? She surprised us when she flipped her camera and showed us where she was. Emily, are you under a desk? She whispered back, yes. She was sleeping under her desk at work in Australia. Talk about taking her job seriously. She went on to whisper that the janitor was coming and she had to be quiet and stay hidden. We all sat there on FaceTime quietly laughing, hoping she wouldn't be discovered. Well, she was never discovered and found an Airbnb. I don't know, how many days did you stay under that desk?
I stayed there with Native Michael to stay.
Under the desk? So a week later, she found an Airbnb. This goes back to, oh, you know what? That's the end of it. That goes back to my other story. Yes, but yeah, a week.
The best FaceTime I got, though, when she was living in the office, she was sitting on a park bench. And I'm like, what are you doing? She turned the phone around. She's like, you see the lights up there? And I'm like, yeah. She goes, those are the cleaning ladies. I'm just watching them go floor to floor to floor so I don't get caught and then I can go back in the building and go back to bed. I was like, I am way too tired for this. Like, I don't know
I was
what.
way too tired for it.
I know.
So what ended up happening is I was in Australia and I was only there for a couple days. They didn't really end up helping me like I was hoping with lodging and stuff like that. And my visa turned out to be a disaster. So I didn't end up going on a business visa. I went on a travel visa. So I had to cancel all my Airbnbs and basically just showed up in the country without anywhere to stay. Normal for me. I've done it before. We did it with Scott or Derek before. So, but it was St. Patrick's Day, and there was a breakout in the office. So one person got sick, then another person got sick, and another person got sick. So they just decided to say, we're closing the office for a full week. And I thought, well, that sucks because I'm just going to go back to this crummy Airbnb where I'm staying, paying tons of money for a tiny, tiny, tiny place. It was absurd. And so I decided, I was in the middle of moving Airbnbs anyway, that I just decided to cancel the second one and go move into the office because no one was going to be there. So there's a shower, and there is a kitchen, and there was a couch, and we had a bunch of Minky products because Minky's one of our clients. So we had a bunch of like Minky blankets and pillows. So I was comfortable. There was a huge, huge cockroach on the game table room. So I know they didn't vacuum in there very much. So I like hid all my luggage in there, and that's where I would like hide at night when the cleaning crew came. And I just remember thinking one night when they were vacuuming, and if they came in and like vacuumed underneath that chair and hit my foot, what would be the first thing I would say? You know, like what do you actually say? You think about that, you know, like don't shoot. Like if I were in America, I'd have to be like, I'm not an intruder, you know, like. Anyway, something to ponder, really, because what is the first thing you say? If anyone has any good, what? I work here, like, but like, why would I be hiding, you know? Like, then toward the end of the week, I got a little bit more cocky and would just like stay in my business clothes and just stay at my desk, so it looked like I was just burning the midnight oil. I'm an American, we work different hours, whatever. But that is how I ended up illegally squatting in an office. And I kind of just did it as a joke originally, because why not? That's when someone dares me to do something, I'm just a stupid idiot and I do it. That's why I jumped off of the cliff into Lake Phelps at Grand Teton. And I made some great friends that day, all because I just went with it and decided to follow some strangers off of a cliff. So, you know, if I have any words of wisdom for any of y'all, it's to follow some strangers off of a cliff. So that's how I ended
Solid advice, right?
up in Australia.
Solid advice. I love it. All right, well, then we'll get into the next one. What company sent Emily and her team skydiving? Zerix. And there's some of those people who did go skydiving who are here tonight.
Yes.
You
I'm
get,
so proud of
y'all
you.
are crazy.
Especially because Rachel wasn't even going to go, and I talked her into it.
She followed a stranger out of an airplane. Yeah.
We had everything for Kaylee, even though she threw up. We had extra clothes. I was like a mom. I had breakfast for us. I had like everything taken care of. I did make us take shots before we did jump out of the airplane, which is partially why I feel accountable for the throw up. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I still took care of all other needs.
Perfect. Okay, how many national parks has Emily visited? Not all. 12, 6. What else? 14. It's 14. Stinking Paul, you know?
How did you know?
Have you seen The Key, Paul? Do you have a copy of it? No? Okay. Oh, that's impressive. It's impressive. All right, well then, Paul, how many countries has Emily visited? Oh my gosh, get out of here. Paul got it right. Yes. Nice. Nice. That's awesome. All right, well, let's jump into what company did Emily?
Laura got.
Oh, yeah?
Do we have winners over here?
12. 12 countries. 12 countries. What company did Emily lose her job? Sterling ATM, Salt Lake County Emergency Services, or Zerix, or all of the above? All of the above. That's okay. Stepping stones. Stepping stones.
That's why I think it's so funny.
Yeah.
That's why I phrased it that way.
Yes. All right. Emily once thought she was being stalked by a murderer. True or false? Of course it's true. Who would think they were being stalked by a murderer?
And this one in Madison knows the story. This is a Madison story.
It is.
This was my birthday. This was my 33rd birthday that I had to spend alone during the pandemic, right? There were weird times for us all. My mom had just found out she had colon cancer, and so she was off doing her thing. No one could be around her. I just went off by myself into the forest because I don't know how to handle my emotions other than just doing that. So went off into the forest, went and stayed down in central Utah in a tent in March in the winter. It snowed. So there was that. And then this little story happened with Madison. I was out hiking one day.
So, as Emily mentioned, it was March of 2020, height of COVID. My husband and I were actually driving cross country back from Michigan with a car full of kids to get them out of Michigan, bring them back to Utah. So it was a little bit safer time in Utah during COVID. And it was dark. It was raining. I was driving. Everyone was like asleep. And I see that Emily's calling, and I'm like, the hell is she calling for? Like, where is she? What is she doing? I answer the phone, and she's, and I'm like, hello? Are you okay? And she's like, I think there's someone following me. I'm like, well, where are you? She's like, I'm on a trail in some forest. I made you repeat it like 10 times. Had no idea where you were. Exactly. No one does. But she's like out of breath. Going, I'm in Orangeville. I'm on this trail, and I'm like, okay. Like, do you need help? What can I do for you? I am like 12 states away. How can I help? There's this man, and I'm like, oh my God, this is it. It was a woman, by the way. It was not. It was not a man. It was a woman. She was terrified. She thought this person was stalking her because they happened to be on the same trail. It got a little weird at times. The person got a little close. They kept appearing and then going away and then reappearing. Yes. Yeah. Note to self. Mm-mm.
If anyone has heard that one, I had just listened to Down the Hill, where like the murderer specifically kind of like gets them to a point in the mountain where they have no choice but to go down. And that basically is like the exact walking formation I was going in. So that's what made it extra scary.
It was extra scary. And I said, well, what would you like me to do? She said, just stay on the phone with me, just in case. And I said, well, I don't want to listen to you. Like, yeah, I don't want to listen to that. She's like, okay, well, I'll just call you back then. I'm like, oh my gosh. Click. That was it. Crazy. A water. Ron? Ron is on it.
It's a great podcast. Would recommend. Don't listen to it while you're hiking.
Yeah. Good deal. All right. Emily worked the longest at what company? Is that the guess? Send Out Cards? Send Out Cards is correct, but the bonus is how many years? 7, 12. Quiet table up in the back. I see you. You don't even have a guess? What? It was 9. Way to go. It was 9 years at Send Out Cards. 9 years. Yes. All right. What is Emily's favorite seasonal drink at Starbucks? If you don't know this, are you really friends? PSL? Pumpkin spice latte. That's it. That's the one. Okay. This next one, I'm going to venture to the table in the back. Emily. It says she once lost an eye. She still has both eyes. She didn't actually lose it. So this question's a little off. She nearly lost an eye to what? A cardboard box, a rubber band, or a minion while on the job? It was a minion. Anyways, long story short, one day we were at Send Out Cards. We worked in these cubicles. There was this girl who sat on the other side of the wall. She will not be named, but you know who she is. She was having a bad day. I don't know what her problem was. Emily was just chilling on the beanbag, and then all of a sudden, this little, we're talking like this big, little plastic, came out of a kid's meal, plastic minion. This girl threw it over her cubicle wall, and it just came down across Emily's face, and she immediately grabbed it like this. And the boys, they just were like, oh, what's wrong? You're fine. And I was like, show me your face. She pulled her hands off her face, and it was just blood running down it. It was awful. This plastic little minion just got you right through the eyelid. She's got a little bit of a scar right here. Almost lost her eye that day.
Madison went and got
I found the Band-Aids.
The other girl was crying, and Madison's like, you can't cry.
So if I see any of you crying today, I'm just going to be like, you can't cry. You can't. Don't cry. I don't do crying. Don't cry. That's my phone. It's fine. It falls all the time. Yeah, so that was a wild day that day.
Yep. But we got it all taken care of. There was a workers' compensation thing I had to waive. And that was interesting. As always.
Yeah,
A day in the life of Send Out Cards.
day in the life. All right, well, we've got one last question, and that's Emily crashed someone's bike tour, X-rated lunch, or wedding? Who's having an X-rated lunch? Wedding. And Scott, she wants you to tell the story.
We'll start here. So if anyone has traveled with Emily or went camping or even just had a lunch date, you know this by seeing how detailed she is with planning. Mariah Carey. Okay. So if anyone has traveled with Emily or went camping or even just had a lunch date, you know this by seeing how detailed she is with planning. When we traveled to Hawaii last March with Emily, she found this great Airbnb with our backyard was the ocean, and you can see 10, 20 turtles at a time, every day. It was awesome. Emily would jump right into the ocean. Emily goes all in with life. She does that. But one day, the beach club next door was having a wedding. Derek and I decided to watch it from our beach chairs because you will not get me in the ocean. There's probably a 200-foot sea creature that has not been discovered right there. Just waiting, and it's waiting for me specifically. So we decided to watch it from our beach chairs while Emily decided to go snorkeling. She grabbed her fins, her goggles, her snorkel, and her bright purple pool noodle and marched right into that sunset water to swim with the turtles. Derek and I sat on the grass watching her when the wedding party made their way down to the water, where Emily was pool noodling around looking at the turtles. While the wedding party continued to take beautiful photos of the bride and groom, no one realized that Emily was in the background of every single photo. You didn't know this was happening because your face was looking at the turtles.
There was so many sea turtles and just so much action going on down there.
And
Had no idea what they were at.
And Derek and I were on our backyard just cracking up because we just see her kicking. Her face is in the water with a little snorkel with a bright purple pool noodle under her chest. And then the photographer is like trying to angle the pictures to get the couple like this way, but then Emily's so then the photographer's like, let's go this way. And then Emily's like, no, I'm gonna go this way too. And we were dying laughing watching her. Our stomachs hurt so bad. Like that's the best kind of laughter, and Emily is always the one that gets you to laugh like that.
And it was wild too, because then when I went to get out, that's when the bride actually like came over to the sidewall to do like a sprinkler send off. And I also happened to be trying to get out of the water at that time.
Yes.
Share the same stairwell.
But it wasn't just the bride, it was the whole wedding party was right there at the stairs.
And I'm just like,
She's trying to crawl out of the ocean.
just standing there, just slightly crouched, like it doesn't help at all. I'm still just fully standing there, just with poor posture.
And I have photos and videos of all of this. If you guys want to see it, come see me. I got them. I got them. Anyway, Derek and I laughed so hard and just, yeah. Yes.
No X-rated lunches, that was my mom.
No, yeah, what is that? I want to hear that story.
Remind me not to come by during lunch. I don't think she's going to them. I think she's hosting them. Mom, we're not coming over for lunch. It's not going to happen. Perfect. All right, well, let's see who did the best. And It's probably Paul. I mean, is it Paul? Paul did the best. Did you get 100%? No, you did not. Wow. Paul, congratulations. You yeah.
I know Chris did really well, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You did it?
Lu- Well, Emily's got some things here.
Whoever got the top 3, I've got games, because y'all know I love games. Yahtzee, Sparkle, and Moniker is some games I love, so I bought. So Paul, come get a game.
Who else did really well? Who got more than like 6 right? Really? Who got more than 7 right? 8? 9? I'm just counting that as one question. That's one, because he probably guessed them. 9? 10? You got 9. You're at 10? 11? Tatum. 12? 13? Okay, well then you're definitely coming up for 12. 12's pretty good. 12's pretty great. And then who was the next one? Allie? 10? 10 and 10? Did anyone have more than 10? Are you sure? Part of me feels like you cheated, and I can say that because I'm your aunt and I know you really well. 11? All right, Chris. It's you. Yeah. Perfect. It was me. It was Chris.
The alcohol you're drinking and enjoying is from Salt City. So those are from my friends from Discover Card, actually. Aaron and Jesse are the owners, and I've known them for 20 years. So they donated the vodka for my party. So holla at them. That's the best part. So, of course, continue to get drinks, because last call is at 8:30, and there's a lot of drinks to be had. And I would recommend you buy Salt City when you go to the liquor store. And then also, I just want to thank Eldridge as well, because they donated the venue space. So, like, I paid for food and everything, but they were so kind to donate the space and help me coordinate everything for this amazing party. So, holla all around it. Candace specifically, like, yes, all the staff and everything that everyone's been doing. It's so nice, right? Like, I'm the luckiest person every single day when, like, people donated vodka, or when my friends brought, like, Simply Limeade and ginger beer. Like, thank you, Laura. Thank you, Paul. Like, I'm just the luckiest person. Every day something new happens. I get new flowers, or I get a new letter in the mail, and I'm just the luckiest person. I couldn't even believe how lucky I am. Like, you all have known me for years and years, so you've known I've gone through a lot of really hard challenges before even this hard challenge, right? Like, I'm just built for hard challenges. That's what I guess my ticket is to this planet. But I tell myself every day how lucky I am, that I just couldn't be more lucky, really. And that's to all of you so much. Like, I am so grateful for all of your love and all the messages that you send me. And when I have a bad day and I post things on Instagram and you all write back, it really helps me. So this is supposed to be like a fun, upbeat retirement party, not like a sad party. But I'm just really grateful that you're here for my retirement. And how lucky am I to be able to retire at 36, right? Like, I can wake up and do whatever I want, which is typically just going to doctor's appointments. But nonetheless, it's not work. So there's that. And I'm really fortunate that I've built a lifestyle where I was able to go and do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, and I had the money and means to do it. So I just feel like I've already been retired for a couple of years because of COVID, right? Like, you get to do whatever you want with COVID because you just stay at home. So, and I just got in my camper and I was like Miss Wild West. So just going through like Idaho, Montana, Oregon, wherever. And then I did that in Australia. So, and Australia was hard work. You'd be surprised at like how hard traveling is, right? Like finding a different Airbnb to sleep in every week is exhausting. But I did it, and I've got crazy stories for it. Just the craziest stories, like how I got ghosted in Australia. I don't know if you guys heard that story. How like I was entirely ghosted by an Airbnb, and then I had to find a place to live in the rain. Phone dying in the dark in a city. I just got dropped off at this house that's empty. That is, oh no streetlights, nothing. It was like terrifying. And then I just didn't know what to do, so I used my brain and went back to the airport, and I found this girl, and I went back to a hostel with her, and that's how I ended up staying at a party hostel. I am too old for that. For girls that, yes, I came across these two girls that I met in the crosswalk. I don't know if you guys heard that story. Like, I just make people crossing the street, but I met these girls, Madison and Emily, and was like, oh, these girls are going to be my best friends. And then we went on like a super fun day trip together. I can't believe I was swinging from ropes into a river, not knowing, like, my back hurt, but I didn't realize that, like, it hurt because it was full of tumors. Like, and I'm just swinging from trees into rivers. Like, I was in loads of pain. I was popping the Australia version of ibuprofen nonstop. And I had a top bunk. And there was, like, a girl who was 21 who threw up all over the floor. It was not for me. But nonetheless, I made it work. And I had a great time. Like, because that's what I do. And I made friends. And I don't know, that's how Australia just turned out to be a wild adventure. But it was a wild adventure I did myself, and I learned a lot about myself, as you do when you travel alone. So I would recommend that for everyone. Even if you have a spouse, it's really great to take time to go into nature by yourself and have a vacation by yourself, because I think you learn a lot more about yourself, and you look around a lot more than when you're with someone. So I would recommend, because that was really cool. But yeah, I guess that's me saying something that to all of you, that I just really appreciate all of you being here and continuing to make me just the luckiest and happiest person ever, that I'm living my best life, and it's because of all of you. So thank you. I'm really glad you're all here. Thanks. That's probably it by way of a speech, so if anyone wants to say anything. Now I guess I can pass this around if anyone wants to say other things. I know Scott has more to say. Okay, all right. So anyone have anything they want to add? Okay, will you run that to Shelly Ray?
I want to do it now before I chicken out. Can you hear me? Okay. When it said to say some of our funny memories of Emily, well, first I should say that I'm her mother-in-law, but not her mother-in-law, but I am her mother-in-law. But one time she was at our home, and she let out this blood-curdling scream, and Mike and I just were like, what is happening? It was a spider. Are you? It was. Yeah. We were almost like mad because the scream was so loud. We were just like, oh my gosh. But yeah, she was so afraid. Oh. Yeah, it's a good memory. And the women in my family, we have a shopping day in Mike's side of the family, and we go Christmas shopping and have lunch every year. And when Emily joined us, she just had the hardest time spending money. And it was so funny. I would say, pick out something that I could give you, for Christmas. And she just couldn't do it. I'd say, well, pick out a sweater. She goes, well, I have a sweater. I'm like, don't you want another sweater? No. It was just so hard. But anyway, after a lengthy conversation with Chris, she got the hang of it real quick. He told her it was okay and how to go about it. And then she would come some years and buy so much, I'd be like, okay, well, what can I give you from this? Oh, nothing. I'm going to keep it all for now. That's a fun memory. Her organizational skills have helped me more than a few times in my life, too. And when we moved into a new home about 5 years ago, she put my pantry in order and got it all organized for me. I need you to whip it back into shape. Okay. she would come in some days and say something like, I did this and this and this and this and this today, and I'm like, I haven't even showered. It would just make me so tired, but she had always done so many things. These are random, but anyway, she also has been known to bring me a cupcake from as far away as California. Yep. And oh, cool. I didn't even realize that. There's one thing that our whole family has as a little joke about Emily. When at Thanksgiving, my dad would make Rose rolls, and Emily would just eat them and eat them. She loved them so much, and anytime he made them for whatever party or whatever, but it's just a joke now that if we have extra rolls, it's like, oh, I guess Emily wasn't here. It was just so fun.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then I started opening them and putting in funeral potatoes. Would recommend you pop those rolled open and drop in some funeral potatoes. You're living your best life.
Yes. I'll be forever grateful how her and Chris brought little Franklin into our lives from the very beginning, and he loved Mike and I, and he loved to come to our house so much that sometimes he didn't even want to leave. It was so cute. But they didn't have kids, but they had Franklin, and that was one of the hard things. But we sure loved him. And Emily has been in our family parties and holidays for many years, and she's always be our daughter-in-law. And she's an example of strength and enduring, and to be able to stick to it. And she's an example of always having fun and living your best life. We love you.
Gotta hold the mic up close to your mouth. You want to stand up? Oh. Say who you want to say who you are, though? Say your name.
This is Tatum.
Yeah, I'm Tatum, and one memory I have of Emily is one we were celebrating Kyson and my uncle's birthday, and I remember she came to the pool and I was soaking wet, drenched, and she would never back down a hug. So I gave her a big hug.
Took a wet hug from Tatum, even though you were very wet.
And I know this has been rough for because I've got something in my family too, and I know it's like my mom clearly knows what it's like when you fell down.
Oh yeah. First thing I did when I got here today was try to lift my foot up over the curb, which is what, like 3 or 4 inches? I did not make it. My legs just totally buckled out from underneath me, and I totally just fell down. And Whitney swooped out of the car so fast and had me picked up. My legs weren't even working. Like, I don't know how I stood after because they weren't working. But there was only a little blood, so didn't go through the dress or anything. We're all fine. But it was like, yeah, the first thing I did when I got here, I was like, zoop, fall down. But so Tatum got to experience that.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, my dad does that all the time.
Yeah.
So we got it.
So
Parker and I have really grown together a lot in the last couple months with our problems. But hey, right? Problems is what makes you stronger. So adversity, stupid bitch. We should wrap it up.
and so And anytime I see her struggle, and I hope she knows this, but I'll always be with her.
Thank you.
No matter what happens, I would always be with her.
Thank you. Good job. Thanks for coming. It's a bad word, don't say that.
Don't let Emily be your example. You can't teach small children.
I know. To be fair, this is not a child program. There is an open bar.
And to be fair, that kind of made it all good.
Oh, last call for drinks too as well. So scoot on out there if you want a drink. I'm really particular about that because I don't know. It's just part of like Mexican food, right? Like eating it just an exorbitant amount of Mexican food and drinking too much is just kind of like my thing. And so I just wanted, it just feels right that we share that at my retirement party. It's just kind of how I roll. Anyone else have anything?
Do I have to suck on this thing? You have to like really get it in there. Emily, your presence in my life, particularly over the last few years, has been invaluable. I've watched you struggle and subsequently rise with untamed rebellion against the expectations that were put on you. I watched with admiration as you grabbed life by the ovaries and truly lived. You packed up your camper and your kayak and you traveled to national parks across the country. You moved to Australia for months. You started a job with little security but so much freedom. And now you've been navigating so well through your greatest trial. I'm so inspired by your attitude toward life. It will get sorted is a phrase I've heard you say often. And it comes to me when I need to be reminded that I can't solve everything right away. You've shown me what a fulfilling life can look like, that I can be whole and complete and happy and enough on my own. You've modeled a can-do attitude toward everything and shown me that I can make things happen for myself. You've shown me how to build meaningful relationships with family and friends. You taught me how to effectively and efficiently, a great descriptive word for you, ask for and accept help from others. You've left an impact on June, my daughter, as well. After every time we visited with you, she has told me that it's so impressive how positive your attitude is toward everything. Even an 8-year-old can see what an amazing human you truly are. You are a light in all of our lives. You make everything more fun and funny and a little more extra. You have a contagious laugh and you take up space. The bus and vibes. You've shown me what it looks like to just truly be yourself and build a life that you actually want, not that you're expected to have. Your impact on me has been great, and it will last the rest of my life. When you were doing all your traveling, I kept telling you that you were living the life I would want to live if I had an alternate timeline. I have so enjoyed seeing you thrive, and I will do my best to live out your life in an alternate timeline for the rest of my days. You will always be with me. Your influence has changed my life for the better. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life and a witness to it. It's been an absolute privilege to know you and to love you.
That's a good one. Can I save that part? I want to read that later. That's a good one.
Yes. You're just making me walk back. My name's Allie, by the way. I have known the Robisons since the day I was born, and I have known Emily since I was 8 years old. So kind of a random story to find out that she was dating Chris, who I've known my entire life.
Yeah, like I was having sleepovers with Jenica, my future sister-in-law, before I
At my house.
Yeah, like how random, right?
But we've talked a lot about how Emily has accomplished all of her goals, and that is not true. In 6th grade, Emily had a goal to have perfect attendance. And if you had perfect attendance, they would call your name over the intercom and call you down to your office for your prize. And every quarter, Emily was going down to the office to get her prize until the very last quarter of school. And Emily had been at Fish Lake? Oh, okay, just at the county pool in Riverton. She got super sunburned, and so she came to school, and we went year-round, so we were still in school in the summer, and she came to school with massive blisters on her shoulders from her sunburn. and she was sitting next to Blake Lingman. He is the devil of this story. Not here tonight. Because of this. So he was sitting next to her, and he was leaning back on his chair, and she said something funny or something, and he came down from leaning back on his chair and slapped her, and her blister exploded all over her shirt, and her shirt was like stuck to her skin, so when she pulled off her shirt, it peeled off her skin. And then she missed school for a couple days and did not get her perfect attendance.
Oh, shit. You know, like, you miss one day. Like, what's one day from 5 days? I'll just stay home now.
Yes. But there's a lot of good memories that I have from Emily. She's gotten me through a lot with Shira and with Chelsea, and we've been through a lot of things in our 36 years or our 28 years of knowing each other, 36 years of life. But I will always cherish all of those memories and our friendship, and I wish that I had cherished those our friendship more as when we were younger instead of waiting till now. I think we've made up for it, but if there's anything that I'll remember about you, it's to handle everything with grace and with poise, and you've certainly done that, and your gratitude, even in your hardest trials, is really inspiring to me.
This is insane. Like, what? Cool. Anyone else have cool things to say about me?
Can I share one?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I feel like I've done a lot of talking this evening, but this is my favorite story because it was at the very, very beginning of our friendship. And there's some people who were actually here when this happened that are here tonight. But I share this story all the time. All the butt cheeks in the back who refuse to talk on the mic. Those ones. I see you. No, okay, so we met in June. It was the month of June when I started at Send Out Cards. You wanted to be friends with me really badly, and I didn't want to be friends with you. I thought you were weird. I thought you were too much. And I spent months sitting at my desk eating lunch by myself because I did not want to be Emily's friend. No, it gets better. We're here now. Yes. You just were a lot. You scared me a little. But a few months later, it was Halloween. And we were going to a Halloween party, a coworker Halloween party. We were all kind of friends. And at the time, Emily and I were, my spouse at the time refused to dress up for Halloween. And Emily's like, well, I'll be your spouse for Halloween. We could do a couple's costume. And I said, you know, I know. He's here in the room. Yeah. Yes. This is when we became work wives. Yep. Neither spouse wanted to dress up. We said, you know what? We'll be a couple. We'll be each other's spouse. So she's like, well, what should we be? And I was like, oh, let's go as bikers. Like, that's an easy costume. Let's go as bikers. She's like, great. See you at the party. So I go home. I get out like the leather vest, the bandana. I'm like, ooh, I could get one of those like tattoo sleeves. I roll up at the Halloween party and I'm like, where's my spouse? Where's my spouse? And I look over there. Emily is dressed as a cyclist with a helmet on in like a spandex onesie. She thought it was that kind of biker. We were not the same biker. And at that moment, I knew that I was going to love you for the rest of my life. And we have loved each other for the rest of our life. In fact, we were joking earlier that this is actually the wedding that she and I always dreamed of having together. Yeah. This is the one we wanted to have together. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. But I do. I love you. And you keep saying that you're the one who's blessed when in reality it's all of us who are blessed. And I remember there was a time in our friendship when I was being kind of a shit. And I remember we were in the car and you told me, if you don't get your shit together, like we can't be friends. And I knew that was a changing moment for me, and I changed because I couldn't lose you. I couldn't. So I changed my whole world so that I could keep you in it. And I'm the one who's blessed. And I love you so much. And all of these people love you so, so much. I am so jealous at how many friends you have because you're my only friend. And like, you have an entire room of friends. You're so loved. And I hope you feel it, and I hope you know it. Good.
Thank you.
I love you. Obviously. Welcome to our wedding, ladies and gentlemen.
I even sat down because I didn't want to be on different levels. I was like, this isn't appropriate for me to be at level with you. So anyway, now that you guys got to just know how much we love each other, but you all know how much, all of you know that Madison's just been my best friend forever, and that's just how we roll. So, I don't have anything else to say. Does anyone have?
Aubrey.
Okay, well you go ahead and mic to Aubrey.
You bet.
Mine isn't sweet and heartfelt though.
Oh,
so.
please, thank God.
And I'm so glad you had this to write it down.
Yes, because I also specifically roast, because I intended.
Oh, mine's not a roast either. It's just not like sweet, but it's great. I don't know if that's a thing. Okay, so when Emily and I were in high school, I think it was high school, we went to a Bees, which was actually the Stingers at the time. We went to this game with Ashley Wagner. And Ashley got her brother's girlfriend to buy us alcohol, probably Mike's Hard Lemonade or something teenagers want to drink. Yeah.
I think it has crystals in it.
Yeah, probably.
Cinnamon crystals on a hot summer
Oh,
day.
yep. Well, then we took those drinks and we put them in big gas station cups. Do you remember that? And then we hopped on tracks because we're responsible. And very obnoxiously, because we were drunk, and we headed to the game. Yeah. I think we were 16 or 17. So bad. We turned out fine. She turned out great. We were so loud and probably insufferable for those around us at the game that this man who was sitting a few rows ahead of us turned around and said, "Hey, you guys, you would probably love to sit closer. I have some friends that are sitting just lower, closer to the field. If you want to go down there, here's the row, here's the seat numbers. Just go down there and tell them Rusty sent you." So we were like, wow, how cool is that? So as it turned out, Rusty is not him, and he did not send us. And the people that we were bothering were very confused. And Rusty is such a great name. That should have been our first clue that that was not real at all. Yeah. Yeah. And now, like, every several years, just a random, "Hey, Rusty sent you." Tell him Rusty sent you. I have a lot of other short little memories with you when you lived with my family for a little bit of time our senior year of high school.
Basically stayed young because my mom moved to St. George before I graduated, so I had the choice to go to St. George or stay living in Salt Lake, so I moved in with Aubrey's family.
Yeah, it was awesome. While you lived with me, we shared all our clothes, and my sister took part of that as well. I don't remember where this got started, but I remember Sexy Andy's mint parties, which is when you're dressed really, really hideous and ugly, and you just eat so many Andy's mints and watch movies. So I'm not sure. That's the most I remember.
And probably watched
Scary
Family
movie.
Guy.
Or
We
it-
watched so much Family Guy that we felt like delusional off.
Yeah, it's appropriate. Watching lots of scary movies too. And then going to brand new concerts when we were older. Yeah. But those are my fondest memories. And thanks for sharing those with me. And I love you. Me too. Thank you.
I remember that because when the concert started, we left. Because it was, who was it? Fall Out Boy or something? Yeah, and then we just left we just stayed for Bayside and then left. Yeah. Anyone? We call out for anyone else? Or I guess we've got 15 minutes. Okay, so we've got like 15 more minutes, so hand it to
Jenna, and then Chris.
No, Paul. Whatever. Jenna can wait.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, I can 100% wait.
I haven't seen Santa. I haven't seen Santa.
Paul, you don't want a story? Come on. You married her.
You married her?
Okay, my bad.
Paul indicated mine is Chris's wedding.
There you go. Chris was the husband. Sorry. We knew you Chris too.
I just wrote down some random things, and I'm very nervous, so I don't know if we'll get through it, but we'll see. Are any Eckers here? Eckers?
Oh, no.
Okay. This is a very embarrassing story that I don't really want to tell, but when Emily and I first started hanging out, we went on a trip to Fish Lake, St. George, and then Las Vegas. And in Fish Lake, we went to view these cabins, and one was owned by a family that Emily knew, and she really liked that family. So we went and looked around the cabin, and they weren't there, so we were just kind of like walking around outside. And I don't think we had a place to stay that night, and I'm thinking probably that Emily might have planned this now. But we're just hanging out on the deck, and she starts like wiggling the window, and she's like, "Help me get this off." And I'm not really like that. But I didn't want her to think I was lame or something, so I just kind of was like, okay. And so she breaks into this cabin, and we go inside, and we're just like looking around. And if you didn't know, Emily is a CSI. So she starts looking through their mail and like their food, and she's like, "I'm pretty sure they're not coming back tonight." And then she's like, "So we should just sleep here." I didn't want to do that, but I went with it, and we slept upstairs, and I kept thinking we'd like get woken up by them coming or something. Yeah. And in the morning, they never came, and we left everything as it was. And I think we ran into them at a funeral or something, and it was very awkward for me.
Summer, and they were there. So we just like, I don't think you guys are you guys stand to cap around you there, but I think I went and hung out with a few. Like, I had family visit and talk about Dave Ecker passing away. Dave Ecker and my dad were friends, and they passed away. So, because I had stayed in this cabin before. It's not like I had.
We did stay at the cabin.
I had stayed in the cabin as a child. So the breaking in and making a little less. Yeah.
But I feel like that's kind of representative of how things were between Emily and I, me being kind of cautious and her wanting to just jump into things. And a lot of times that we met in the middle and balanced out, but usually more on her side. Emily really loves animals. She always wants to bring wild animals into her home. Our first apartment had a creek, and ducks and geese lived by, and she would go outside and feed them bread, and there'd be like 20 or 30 ducks around her. And I think Jenica was here for that once. Yeah, it's bad. But then she had this idea to lure them into our apartment, and I just kind of stood there like rolling my eyes and shaking my head like I often did. And she lured like 3 or 4 into the apartment, and she just starts like celebrating, and then it's like, well, now what do we do? And she didn't care. They just kind of walked around, and then she shoot them out. She had a lot of fun with our dog, Franklin. I often found them on the couch together. I looked through my journal to see if there's anything to bring up, and I found a line that was pretty representative of Emily. It said, "When I got home from work, Emily was at home on the couch with her pants off, which is her favorite thing to do." She would often be doing that, and Frank would be laying on the couch above her, and she'd usually just be like on her phone laughing at something, and then she'd request snacks. Speaking of snacks, we started making Chex Mix for Christmas every year. And some of it would fall on the ground, and Frank would eat that. And you hear this like crunching, this loud crunching, and you know he got it. We left a bowl of it out while we were watching TV. We walked away, and as we come back, we hear this loud crunching, and we see that he's like up on this table, like snarfing it down so fast. Well, if you've had my Chex Mix, like a lot of it, you might find it makes you gassy. That happens for dogs too. It was bad. I would often find Emily in a sour mood or like a grumpy mood, and she would not really know why. And it didn't take me too long to figure out, and there were 4 things I could ask, and it was always one of these things. And I'd ask, "Are you hungry? Are you thirsty? Are you cold? Are you tired?" And she wouldn't even realize it. She'd be like, "Oh, I'm hungry. I haven't eaten." So then it's like, "Well, go eat." And then she would quickly eat and then feel better seconds later. Yeah.
It's like, do you need sunlight? Do you need water? Like, do you need a nap? And then I'm fine. Like,
And she would get deliriously tired where she would start.
Rachel and I even at Zerks, like anytime we had hard days at Zerks, I'd be like, "Kaylin, have we had a drink of water? Have we had a full drink of water? Like, did we shower today?
Where did you learn that?
Yes. So we went through a lot of that, and I feel like you inspired me.
Emily would have bruises on her body a lot, and we found that she bruised easily, and I would often worry that people would think that was like from me. But it wasn't. She would walk into stuff all the time. She would walk into our bed, into chairs, into things in the house, and it happened so much that it started to just be a thing where I'd be like, "Pay attention to your environment." And it was funny sometimes, it made her mad sometimes, but I could just often look at her and she'd be like, "I know, pay attention to your environment." I think that Emily has set out to, or accomplished everything that she has set out to do. I'm not really sure of anything she didn't besides that 6th grade thing. She often makes it look easy, but I know that it wasn't. I saw her struggles a lot. Need some water. I saw how frustrating it was for her at times. But she'd always push through it. She has had a pretty amazing career. Early on, when she wasn't quite sure what she would do, I saw a lot of potential in her, and I pushed her a lot. I think that we had some conflict over that, and I know that there's better ways to do that now, but I saw a lot of potential in her, and it was cool to see her accomplish a lot. She had a lot of hardships in the workplace where we'd talk, and the answer was that she would have to stand up for herself or speak up to usually a man in management. And I know that's very hard and often dangerous for women in careers. And she did it, and she did it a lot. And I think that she has a lot to show because of that. She's very goal-driven, and she would make quite a big list of goals every year. And she would stick to them. Most people would drop off after a few months. But she would stick to them all year and come back to them, and if she accomplished them, she'd add more. And she'd often have a theme to live by for the year, and she would stick to that as well. So I think that was cool and inspiring to see. Once she started doing school, she pushed through it pretty quickly. How many master's degrees do you have? I missed this before, but I'm really happy to see Mexican food here. We got Mexican food a lot in the early days and gained a lot of weight together. If you haven't seen how Emily eats a burrito, it's very weird. She gets a bean burrito, and she smushes the beans out from the middle, and then eats the beans separately from the burrito. With the rice. We would have arguments about, she'd often request or demand that Mexican food would be at her funeral. And I would push back, and because I didn't want to talk about that. Why would we be talking about that in our 20s? But then I'd also be kind of stubborn and be like, well, you'll be dead. You don't get to decide.
And I was like, fine, I'll tell Madison. She'll carry out my things. Still got it. Because I made a list even when I was just a couple years ago, 4 years ago, I made a list of just like, in case I passed away, what type of things I would want at like my funeral, or if I wanted like a cremation or whatever. Just a light topical list, because I think it's important for everyone to do everyone deserves to alleviate your family. When you pass away, obviously it would be unexpected, right? Like, they would be so overwhelmed and grief to have to deal with that. This is something to do now.
Right, you guys should start counting it under your finger.
Yeah.
On by yourself a lot.
Yeah.
And it was something happened to me when I was driving on the road.
Yeah.
I need to know what I want. And this is how you exactly it.
So in the event of like, just passing, I wrote down a bunch of stuff 4 years ago, included the Mexican thing. And I was like, and Chris is going to take care of it. All good.
I would have taken care of it. Two more things. I believe that everyone in this room has probably received a gift from Emily. She loves gift giving, and she has a knack for picking out unique personal gifts that fit an occasion or something someone needs at the moment. So I think that's been something special about Emily, and she loves to do it. I think that she does it selflessly. She doesn't expect anything back because she sends out to give. Yeah. And then lastly, a lot of my values have been shaped or inspired by Emily's. She hasn't eaten beef since childhood, and because of that, I don't eat much of it. I'm more conscious of food and where it comes from. Recycling was important in our household, and then I started doing that when we met. She was all about reducing waste and not buying things we didn't need. She would often tell me to turn off the water when I was brushing my teeth. And then my mom talked about money, and money was very challenging for Emily, but not in the way that people usually have a problem. She was so conservative about it that it was a real challenge for her to want to spend anything for herself. And as we made more money and could do that, it was a lot of work for her to actually feel good about using it for herself to get something she wanted. She'd always much rather spend it on other people, and I think that still holds true. And I think that's helped me have a different outlook on those types of things. So thanks for helping me with my values and being an inspiration.
Paul? Okay. All right. We've got just a couple minutes.
Well, I wanted to share one funny story. The first time I had the opportunity to meet Emily was when I started working at Send Out Cards, and we needed to hire people. And so we hired Emily. Now, if hearing all the things that Emily's accomplished, all the things that she's done, all these attributes, all these accomplishments, and that hadn't happened yet. She was 19, and 19 Emily was a different Emily from what I know. She was very fit, and she wanted to let me know that. Look, Paul, I'm 19, I'm 119 pounds, I'm very fit, and I can prove it. We had a scale at Send Out Cards, and she would get on the scale and show me that she's 119 pounds. I'm like, I know, Emily. You're very fit. I get it. And that was the running thing for me. Like every week after we hired Emily, it was the prancing around till she could go over to the scale. Look, Paul, I'm so fit. I'm 19. I'm 119 pounds. I didn't know if she was going to last very long or what would happen in her career. But obviously, it was completely different to what I was expecting her to accomplish. So hats off to you on changing what I thought might be a future for you. Yeah. Right. It's not about me, okay? It's not about me, it's about you, okay? So the last thing I wanted to share, because I know we're short on time, but I've had the opportunity to lose a lot of people to cancer. My best friend's dad, a teacher at school that we watched pass away very quickly, 2 friends in Australia, and all unexpected. And I had the opportunity to be by their side the whole time. And one thing that we all have in common is the desire to be loved and to love. And some of these people didn't have that. They didn't have the support of you guys. I remember visiting one of the people that I knew that had cancer, and he had a few months left, and I was just shocked that barely even his family was there for him. And I look at tonight, and best friends like Madison and all of you guys have supported her and loved her, and having had a lot of experience with watching this, you have dealt with it the best I've ever seen. I stubbed my toe on a Spartan race, and I think the world's going to end. And You just handle everything with grace. You're a wonderful human. You have a beautiful soul, and I'm very happy to know you. And I think we should stand up and give her a clap for being just a wonderful human. We love you, Emily. Living your best life. That's what you do.
Mm-hmm.